morning, everyone, and welcome to this ribbon-cutting celebration at Notre Dame of Maryland University's Learning Site at Elkridge for our accelerated second-degree Bachelor of Science nursing degree program. Thank you. Thank you. I won't repeat. I won't repeat. I'm Mary Lou Yam, the proud president of NDMU, and I'm so glad that all of you could join us for this momentous occasion. Special thanks to the team that planned the celebration and brought us all together today. And thank you to the members of the NDMU community, as well as our colleagues and partners Orbis, who have gathered here today to celebrate the opening of this center. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to acknowledge a few people who have joined us today. We want to thank all of our community healthcare partners. We have Joe Deaton from Luminous Health System. Anne Arundel Medical Center is here to celebrate with us today. Thank you, Joe. Thank you to Dr. James Fielder, Secretary of the Maryland Higher Education Commission, for your leadership in making higher education accessible for all Marylanders. We will hear from Dr. Fielder later in the program. I would also like to acknowledge Danielle Akwara, Director of Government and Business Affairs from the Office of Congressman Dutch Rutherford. Thank you for joining us today and bringing remarks on behalf of the Congressman. I want to recognize representatives from the offices of Congressman John Sarbanes, Vicky Garcia, and Maryland Delegate Vanessa Atterbury. Elizabeth Twigg is with us. Thank you. Thank you all. It was in August 2020, during the COVID pandemic, when we first opened this learning site to students and faculty. At the time, we were unable to host a ribbon-cutting celebration due to COVID restrictions, but we knew it was vital to press forward with our plans to open the center and expand access to individuals looking to make a difference by becoming professional registered nurses. Indeed, today, we gather at a time when the demand for nurses has reached a historic high. Just earlier this month, the American Nurses Association urged the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to declare a national nurse staffing crisis. More and more nurses are leaving hospital settings, which puts a strain on nursing professionals and patient care. We need more nurses entering the profession to provide the compassionate and expert care that patients deserve, and also to fill critical healthcare leadership roles. My educational and professional background is in nursing, so I understand firsthand the vital roles that nurses play every day in our communities. They provide expert patient care. They provide emotional support to patients, families across the care continuum. They educate individuals, families, communities, and the public about self-care. They develop healthcare policy, conduct research, and provide leadership in a wide range of healthcare and community settings. Now, more than ever, NDMU of Maryland's accelerated BSN degree program, offered here in Elkridge as a hybrid program, and at our main campus in Baltimore with in-person instruction, is an essential part of closing the gap on the nursing shortage in Maryland and around the country. So thank you again. I will now turn the program over to my colleague, the Dean of the School of Nursing at NDMU, Dr. Kathy Glisser.
So, welcome everyone, and I am so thrilled to be here. So, before we start, I want to give you just an idea of what we do in classrooms. Before we start, any type of session, either it's a class session or it is a meeting. What we do with let's say our theoretical framework is caring science. Caring science means authentic relationships, it's presence, it's really understanding people's story. You all bring your stories here in this room. As nurses, it is incumbent upon us to understand where you all are coming from. There could be worries, concerns, just beyond the tasks that I have to do with giving medication at the bedside. So this point of the meeting is a time for us to say, we're here for a specific reason, whether that's a class session or that's an agenda. We're here during our ribbon cutting ceremony. So I want to talk about, it's called In the Presence of God. And as we always say, is if there are other beliefs, a belief of a Hindu or a Jewish belief, or maybe we think, is there a God? Then just substitute the word when you hear that, when you say this in the poem. This is your time to get centered. I climb the mountain, my heart soars. Touching heaven, my chains are broken. I've been set free to dance in the presence of my God. Uninhibited, unconstrained, singing his praises. Free to dance, free to sing, I've been set free for the glory of my God. Tears run down, I am undone that this holy God speaks to me, that he would show himself to me, his servant. I have seen the glory of God. So why did I choose that? Because I do believe that we are seeing the glory of God. In the back, some may say, oh my gosh, it's so noisy. For us, we welcome that. For those of you who are hospital administrators, you're thinking, I'm going to go over and recruit those students. So everybody hears that and thinks something totally different. So before I hand it over to our next speakers, I just really kind of want to take you back in time. And the time was of 2017, and Dr. Debbie Naccarini and I were in a meeting, and we were just, it was really a conversation about what program should we develop next. Well, we thought of perhaps an NP program. We thought, well, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe site. And then we channeled Sean Delaney, our CFO, and admissions, we channeled them, and okay, where is our pipeline? Oh, I'm not quite sure where our pipeline is going to be. So someone mentioned, well, what about an accelerated second degree program? It's been so successful other places, why don't we try that? So Dr. Debbie Naccarini and I kind of jumped in feet first. Boy, did we learn a lot of lessons. That starting a program, in theory, was a great idea. When you have boots on the ground, quite a different idea, quite a different undertaking. And so we successfully launched that on-ground program in the summer, in May or August, May or June of 2019. And it was showed a picture of the summertime, and faculty are coming down and coming into me and saying, this is wonderful. What a breath of fresh air where you have accelerated second degree students. They know how to read a syllabus. So this is like, we are like now in the weeds. They know how to read a syllabus. They know where to go. They read their textbooks. And so we knew that we were on to something. And so now speed that forward, and now we're thinking about a hybrid version. And we had wonderful partners to work with to, again, get this off the ground. We had faculty buy-in, for the most part, and if you read articles on, change management, you would know that there was really a lot, but they were absolutely wonderful in the end. And so we hooked onto those folks. We kind of converted the curriculum very well. We got kudos of compliments, but I want to give kudos of compliments really to Dr. Naccarini here, who is the Director of Nursing Services. She has been a godsend. So Debbie, raise your hand so they know who you are. So we've been working with Debbie, and we have been working now with Catherine Handy, who is our Associate Dean, and also Ronita Davis, who's the Program Director. And it has been just a wonderful experience all the way around. So I want to express my gratitude about where you are today. We are graduating our first class in December, and this incoming cohort reaches like the mid-60s, so that we are right on target with our students, and we are beyond thrilled to be able to add to the nursing pool and address the nursing shortage here in Maryland. And also, as you know, the ANA president on the screen said that this is a national crisis. So welcome everyone again. For those of you who are live streaming, we're going to be going into the program. We have 3 speakers. Dr. Yim already announced who they are. It's Dr. James Fielder, Danielle Aquara, and Joe Deaton. And so I'm going to introduce first Dr. James Fielder, who is the Secretary of the Maryland Higher Education Committee that we lovingly call MHAC.
Thank you and good morning. I'm pleased to and honored to bring words of congratulations from Governor Hogan. This is an extraordinary opportunity to look at higher education and its innovation. If you said 2 years ago to any of the professors, and I had talked to professors about, well, when are you going to start online teaching? When are you going to do distance learning? When are you going to do hybrid? When are you going to do all these words were like foreign? 1 year later, when the switch was thrown, higher education with Notre Dame and a lot of leadership capacity threw that switch. And it's unbelievable to see what's happening. The use of hybrid, online, distance, hotspots, PPE. You start naming the new vocabulary that we have to do. Wastewater testing, symptom management. Think of contact tracing and all the things that we've implemented in higher education, vaccinations, the masking, and the monitoring is unbelievable. And in part of all that, to say, you know what, we need a new program. It's like driving down 95, going 80 miles an hour, and saying, why don't we put a door on without stopping? And this is what Notre Dame's been able to do. It's the innovation, and people talk about change management. This is change leadership. They're not waiting to manage the change, they're leading the change. Where do we need to be? We know that we have a lot of nurses and allied health professionals right at the point of retirement. There's a tremendous amount of, according to the Board of Nursing from Maryland, Sharon Evans, Executive Director, there's a lot of people who did not renew their licenses. And so that's going to compound the shortage. The concern, within the healthcare field, of course, is that new variants are coming, and if we start to get toward a peak, what do we do for staffing? What do we do for the hospitals? What do we do to get everyone vaccinated? Well, Maryland is fortunate. It's been very aggressive in getting a lot of people vaccinated and prepared, but at the same time, we have that workforce change. So there's a letter being issued just this morning that just said, okay, let's send it out to all the deans and presidents of universities to encourage them to do what we did last spring. Get those nurses that are in a program that have completed what they're required to do past the exam into the workforce housing. So that's a very coordinated effort, and for me, just coming here was extraordinary. I visited the campus 3 years ago and looked at the mannequins, and at that time I didn't know to ask the question, were they low or high fidelity? And I would be loved to be the guy behind the curtain when some students get ready to touch something and yell, ow. Don't do that, you're not supposed to touch that. All those mischievous things, because you think about what the students are learning these days, and in a very conservative manner that they have to approach patients. There's a tremendous amount of effort that's going on. So when I think of this program today, the accelerated BS in nursing is just extraordinary. To know where we are in the state of Maryland, what we've got to get done. This is one program out of 4,128 programs that are offered in the state across all our institutions. We've got 4,100 different programs that are taking place. Allied health is now jumping toward the top. depends on who you listen to. The CDL drivers for buses are also extremely important. And we get involved in that licensing also. So we have on both ends of the whole thing. Well, I was handed they call it a certificate of special recognition, I think. I think they announced that there was a representative here from Sarbanes' office. But why don't you come forward to present this instead of, there is a governor's proclamation that's on the web citation that's on the way for you, but this, I think would be better if you presented it.
A certificate of special recognition presented to Notre Dame Maryland University on the occasion of its ribbon-cutting event commemorating the launch of its new accelerated Bachelor of Science and ABSN Learning Site in Elkridge, Maryland. It's an acknowledgement of its outstanding ABSN program that permits individuals with a bachelor's degree and other subject to change paths and transition into the nursing career field through accelerated coursework. With deep gratitude and appreciation for its leadership in healthcare education and for its commitment to provide life-changing opportunities for its students. Congratulations and best wishes for many more years of continued progress and success. Signed by John P. Sarbanes. Today's date.
And as I conclude, I just have to think back when I was Director of Economic Development a couple decades ago, and we created the Higher Education Applied Technology site in Harford County. Very first institution that agreed to come out and be responsive was Notre Dame. Notre Dame said, you know what, we need more teaching in Northeast Maryland, and to participate with Harvard Cecil County at that time was phenomenal. And I know there's some of us here that remember those days, but I just really can't thank you enough, and congratulations.
Good morning. It is an honor to be here today representing Congressman Cooper's office. I'm here to read a letter that was drafted by the Congressman in honor of this event. The letter reads, Dear Dr. Yam, I'm thrilled that Maryland's 2nd Congressional District is now home to the Notre Dame of Maryland University's Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing Learning Site in Elkridge. I wish I could join you in person as you officially launch this exciting new program. Many of you already know that nurses hold a special place in my heart. After suffering a horrific car accident in the 1970s, my life was saved by a team of medics, doctors, and nurses. Many nurses. I know firsthand the significant contributions nurses make as a patient's #1 advocate, dispensing not just medications and care, but comfort and compassion. Unfortunately, the long-standing nursing shortage in America is getting worse. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, experts suggested that we would need 1.2 million new nurses by 2030 to address the shortage. Now, a mass exodus of experienced nurses, exacerbated by the pandemic, is also creating not just a gap in numbers, but skills. We are approaching a nursing crisis. The good news is that Maryland's premier nursing school, NDMU, has been working for years to address this shortage. Your accelerated nursing program in Baltimore is already making a difference, and this new facility in Elkridge, which unofficially opened in the winter, is off to a great start. You are serving as a role model for how other schools can help our country get competent, qualified nurses into our hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and more. I stand ready to support you in any way I can. I have been fighting for resources to keep our nurses safe throughout the pandemic and have even sponsored legislation to award hero pay to our healthcare heroes who work closely with COVID-19 patients. I have and will continue to support federal funding for scholarships for students who want to become nurses. While I am on Capitol Hill today for votes, please know my thoughts and best wishes for years of success are with you. Congratulations on this achievement, and thank you for working to keep Marylanders healthy. Sincerely, Sage Rudersberger, Member of Congress. Thank you.
Some kind of context here with Joe is that when we were thinking about our clinical sites, just imagine we have to place 150 students at any one time in various sites. We need some really strong partners. And I've known Barbara Jacobs, who's the president of Patient Services, or Chief Nursing Officer, CNO, at Anne Arundel Medical Center. We've had a long-standing relationship with her, with our MSN program. So we were at a meeting together, and I sat down next to her at lunch, and I said, I have a deal for you. What do you think? She was absolutely thrilled. Since that time, this relationship has just deepened, broadened. It has been an exciting trip for us with Anne Arundel Medical Center. So she is unable to be here today. I'm not standing with her. And so we have a good stand-in here, wonderful stand-in. This is Jo Deaton, and she is the Director of Behavioral Health Services. Senior Director, okay.
Thank you, Sharon, Mary Lou, Kathy, and Debbie, the four people I've talked with today. Barbara is someone who tells stories, so what I'll tell you is a story about her. She's the reason I left Hopkins Bayview about 5 years ago and went to open up a new psych hospital at Anne Arundel in Annapolis. And we hit a few snags. It took about 2 extra years, but Barbara was the one. She was the reason I went there. So she is just such an awesome nursing leader. And she was so disappointed not to be able to come. She had a Board of Trustees meeting today. She would so much rather be here with you. Some of the things that she wanted me to say are how much she has valued the partnership with you all. We have, I guess one thing I've seen today is that I'm excited about as part of the Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Council. I'm so excited to see so many diverse nursing students. That's something that really makes me happy. Because that Annapolis used to be a pretty white area. When I walked into the hospital 5 years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, there were so many white folks around. And having worked a lot in Baltimore, that is not the world that I know and not the world that is real. So it's so nice to see Anne Arundel and you all really support diversity and inclusion. Barbara was very, very impressed with the caring nature that you all display both in your program and also to your students. I think Dr. Jean Watson is one of the nursing theorists on the caring science, and you all exemplify that. Barbara said that she's not ever worked with a university that shows such compassion, caring support towards their students, which is very impressive. My experience with the students have been, I have gotten so many great leaders from you all. I have a nurse manager for addictions. I have my director of of Substance Use Services who went through both the RN to BSN program and the master's program. And he's Danny Watkins, and he's like a 33-year-old. He's going to take on the world. He is a nursing leader to be reckoned with. So you all just have done such wonderful work that I've experienced firsthand. We've also had some of your students recently in site, and it's been such a pleasure to see everyone's. I think the thing I noticed the most is enthusiasm. You know, so I think working during COVID has been very challenging. The last couple of years have put a bit of a stall in all of us with enthusiasm. So it's just been great. The students bring that kind of back to us, and that's helpful in the hospital. Barbara also feels like we will be able to hire so many of the students because they will have both clinical faculty that are our nursing leaders, and then your all's advanced simulation, which will really be helpful in producing a nurse that is going to be able to respond very quickly, to be oriented in a shorter amount of time, and really to be, to show the values that we have of caring compassion, as well as clinical excellence and critical thinking skills. So we are really, really pleased to see this. And let me think if there was anything else. Barbara's big thing was she wants to hire all of the students when they graduate, because we are really experiencing a nursing shortage. We are paying so much money for agency nurses right now, and although many of them are really good, they're never as good as your real staff. So we're excited to see your cohorts graduate and all of that. We have some clinical supervisors too in med-surg, in our ACE unit, which is advanced care for the elderly, and also in psych. One of our clinical supervisors has worked for 3 semesters now with one student that she's so thrilled about. So, you're creating opportunities for our nurses to really feel good about giving to the next generation of nurses. As I near the end of this part of my career, after almost 45 years, it just is awesome to see this. And in psych, we like to think of everything that Kathy said makes me want to have her as a psych nurse in my hospital. So thank you all again, and we're really excited for you and Barbara. Couldn't be happier, and we look forward to working with you and your students. So thank you.
One other acknowledgement I'd like to make, Maria Darby is representing Keswick Multi-Care Center. Thanks, Maria.
I want to thank Joe for your dedicated support to NDMU's School of Nursing programs. We are so grateful for all of the community support for the Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree programs. My name is Sister Sharon. I am the Provost of Notre Dame of Maryland University. And what a wonderful celebration on this great day. Our nursing faculty, staff, and students here in Elkridge have done a tremendous job of teaching and learning during the pandemic and supporting the effort to meet the historic demand of nurses. Please know that our dedication to the nursing profession is making a difference in our community and will continue to provide compassionate patient care throughout Maryland and beyond. To our nursing faculty, staff, and students, we express our extreme gratitude for your service to the noble calling of professional nursing. You are truly our national heroes. Now I invite President Yam, Dean Glisser, and our nursing students to join me in the cutting of the ceremonial ribbon. Immediately following the ribbon cutting, the staff here at Elkridge site will lead center tours and there will be refreshments back in the student lounge.